How many times have you been losing your sleep because of something that was completely out of your control? Perhaps an unfair decision, an unexpected loss, a change you didn't ask for, and as much as you fight, complain, or try to understand, nothing changes. The truth is hard, but liberating. You can't control everything, and insist on that just prolong your pain. But what if I told you that there is something much more powerful than controlling the world around you? Something that great philosophers like Seneca have discovered centuries ago, but today, with such anxiety and pressure, most people ignore. The secret is not changing everything. It's changing how you respond to everything. And that, yes, is 100 in your hands. In this video, we will update the Stoic wisdom for today's challenges. You will understand why trying to master everything is running out of you, and how to turn this key. It can bring inner peace, emotional clarity, and true freedom. Get ready to confront ideas that no one told you, discovering solutions that were right before your eyes, and getting out of here with a new way of seeing life. Because you may not control the world, but you can control what matters most: yourself. Life does not always respond as we want. Life has its own pace, its own cycles, and it often does not ask us if we are prepared. The situations appear without warning, changing what seemed right. When this happens, the first reaction is usually of revolt, frustration, or fear. It is like trying to row against a strong current. We get tired and not leave the place. Seneca teaches us that accepting reality is wiser than fighting against what cannot be changed. Accepting is not giving up. To accept is to recognize that there are greater forces than our will. It is the conscious choice to preserve our peace in the face of chaos. Often the difference between suffering and growth is only in the way we see an obstacle. Revolting does not change what happened, only the emotional impact. Active acceptance is a powerful force. We are taught early on to be strong, not to give in. But no one teaches us that wisdom is also giving in. When to resist it is nothing. Nature does this all the time. Rivers surround obstacles. Bamboo bends in the wind and is not departed. There is an intelligence to adapt. Instead of spending energy trying to change what is beyond us, we can use it to change what is within us. Revolt arises when we feel wronged, when we think life owes us something. But the truth is that life makes no promises. It just happens, and it is up to us to answer in the best way possible. Who tries to control the uncontrollable becomes a slave to his own expectations. But those who learn to flow with reality develops rare and powerful freedom. This does not mean accepting silent abuse or injustices. It means learning to differentiate what depends on us from what does not depend. Wisdom is in acting hard where we have power, and with serenity where we do not. This is what makes us resilient. And resilience is what allows us to move on without losing hope, even when everything seems to crumble. How many times have you spent hours or days complaining about something you couldn't change? A delay, a disease, a decision of others, a loss. The complaint does not relieve the pain, it amplifies it. But conscious acceptance gives us clarity. Clearly, we make better decisions. With better decisions, we build a more balanced life. The proposal here is not to pretend that everything is fine, but looking at reality with eyes open and saying, "This I can't change, so how can I act on it?" This simple question already transforms the focus. It takes people out of the role of victim and puts us in the role of protagonist. This is where the true inner strength begins. If everything is right with this first topic, I can continue with the others in the same structure. Do you want me to go straight with the remaining 9 topics? Understanding what is under your control. It all starts with a simple distinction: what depends on me and what does not depend. This clarity changes everything. Thoughts, choices, attitudes, this is ours. The rest, like the behavior of others, the climate, or the past, is out of our reach. Living well begins with this recognition. Imagine the peace that is born when we stop fighting with the uncontrollable. It's like dropping a heavy suitcase we loaded for nothing. A lot of people live exhausted because it tries to master everything. But absolute control is illusion. And this illusion only generates frustration. Freeing yourself is the first step to practical wisdom. Seneca said that we should not waste energy trying to change the laws of fate. But yes, use this energy to change our mind. If something bothers you, ask, is this in my hands? If so, there. If not, accept. It sounds simple, but it is a powerful key. It takes us from the emotional prison of the revolt. See the example of traffic. You can get annoyed, honk, complain, but traffic will continue there. The difference is how you decide to react. You can hear an audiobook, take a deep breath, use this time useful. This is applied wisdom. It doesn't change traffic, but it changes you. And by changing yourself, everything around begins to reorganize. Not magically, but because their choices become more conscious. React calmly instead of anger. Act with purpose rather than impulse. This is the strength of emotional intelligence, knowing how to use what is within your reach. Accepting does not mean liking, but it means stopping energy with what has no solution. This releases you to act more focused, more on what has a solution. In the end, this difference is what separates constant suffering from lasting peace. And that is a choice. Remember, true freedom is not in controlling everything, but not being controlled by what is uncontrollable. And it starts when you understand where your real power is. This is the point where revolt becomes maturity. And maturity opens doors for a lighter and fuller life. The thrill that poisons anger against the unfair. Anger is often born of the sense of injustice. Something went wrong, someone acted badly, life was not as we expected. The heart is filled with revolt. But maintaining this anger is like drinking poison, waiting for the other to get sick. It is a silent poison that steals peace. Seneca knew that. He talked about the danger of uncontrolled anger, which blinds and destroys more than it builds. Instead of resolving, anger intensifies conflicts. Instead of release, it imprisons. This is why learning to look at it with conscience is essential. You may feel angry, this is natural, but what you do with her define who you are. Repressing is not the way, but nor either. Wisdom is in channeling this strength to something constructive. Use indignation as fuel for positive actions, not for aggression. When life seems unfair, and it will probably seem many times, ask yourself, can I change it now? Can I act effectively? If so, channel your energy. If not, take a deep breath and follow wisely. Accepting is not saying it's all right, but to say I won't allow it to destroy me. The constant revolt drains the vital energy. You wake up tired, sleep badly, live in alert. It is like living with a storm inside the chest. But when we accept that not everything will be fair, we make room to grow even in the middle of pain. And this is a great strength. How many times, over time, did you realize that a loss has taught you something? What a mistake has matured you? What a disappointment has revealed truths? Life is a silent master. Sometimes it teaches us with love, others with cuts. But in both, there is growth if we are willing to accept. Free yourself from the anger that holds you to the past. Release the weight of injustices that have no more solution. In doing so, you are not being weak, you are being wise. Because moving on is more powerful than any revenge. And this is one of the greatest legacies of Stoic thinking. How to stop complaining changes your life. The complaint became a social habit. People come together to talk bad about time, government, boss. But few people realize how much this sucks the energy. Complaining does not solve, does not transform. It only reinforces the sense of impotence and victimization. Seneca viewed the habit of complaining as a life delay. He said that the wise person observes the world acceptance without losing his lucidity. Complaining is like walking in circles. You spend energy, but it doesn't get out of place. Already reflecting, acting, or accepting are ways that really move life. Changing the complaint for action is a daily practice. When something bad happens, breathe. Note what can be done. If something cannot be done, stop talking about it. Focus on what you can learn, grow, improve. This transforms the mind and, over time, transforms life. The constant complaint removes opportunities. Positive people move away, doors close. Already those who assume attitude of responsibility attract respect. Not because everything goes well, but because that person doesn't surrender himself to the role of victim. She inspires strength. Instead of saying I can't take it anymore, say what can I learn here? This simple phrase exchange changes its inner vibration. And this directly influences your choices, relationships, health, and even productivity. Your mind begins to seek solutions and not guilty. Of course, there are times when venting is necessary. But there is a difference between venting and living in the complaint. The first relieves. The second gets sick. Learning this difference is crucial to having a healthy mind in such an unstable world. Life is too short to live mourning. Use your voice to bless, teach, grow. Complaining is easy, but transforming requires courage. And you were born with this courage. She is there, inside you, hoping to be activated by a choice. Flexibility, the intelligence of adapting. Rigidity is a peace enemy. The more we try that everything is our way, the more we suffer. The world changes all the time. Plans fail, people surprise us, and the unexpected knocks on the door. Who is flexible survives. Who is rigid breaks. Seneca taught us to live as nature, adaptable, resilient, wise. The river does not fight with the stone, he surrounds her. The bamboo does not resist the wind, it bends. And in doing so, he remains standing. This natural wisdom shows us that strength is in flexibility. Adapting is not losing identity. It is knowing when to insist and when to retreat. It is acting with strategy, not stubbornness. Changing route does not mean failure. It means intelligence. And accepting new routes with serenity is a sign of emotional maturity. How many times did something that seemed bad lead you to a better place? How many times has a forced change opened doors that you would never imagine? Life has a curious way to guide those who do not cling to control. And that only happens when we learn to flow. Mental stiffness comes from fear. Fear of losing, of making mistakes, of looking weak. But in fact, those who adapt show courage. Courage to get out of the known, to try, to start over. And starting over is a silent power. It is a sign of those who trust more than in the circumstances. If something has changed and you can't avoid, change together. Look at the new scenario with apprentice eyes. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Instead of saying this shouldn't have happened, say how can I grow up with it? This is how it has evolved. Flexibility is an art that learns living. The more you practice, the lighter life becomes. Because you stop fighting the inevitable and start using what you have to create something new. This is true freedom, not to control the world, but to know how to adjust to it. The peace of those who accept the past. The past has the power to imprison those who refuse to accept it. The mind returns to the scene, passes on errors, revives pain. But what has already happened cannot be changed. Seneca said that only the gift is real. The past is a shadow, only has power if you feed. To accept the past is not to ignore what it was. It is looking with lucidity, extracting lessons and following. It's like closing a book after learning from it. Rereading the same chapters does not change the end, but it prevents you from writing a new story. Most emotional sufferings are born from not accepting what it has already been. You cannot change what they said, what they did, or what you have lost, but you can decide how to react to it. You can decide to forgive. You can decide to grow. This is within your reach. Seneca invites us to live the now, because it is only in now that we have power. The past has gone. The future has not yet arrived. And getting stuck to what doesn't come back is to waste the only real time, the present. The now is the only place where change happens. If something marked you, accept. Do not escape pain, but also do not eternalize it. Cry, understand, breathe, and then release. You are not your past. You are what you do with him. Using scars as wisdom is much more noble than carrying them as open wounds. We all made mistakes. We were all injured. But we also have the choice of not living with eyes on the rearview mirror. The road is ahead, and the time you spend stuck in yesterday is the missing time to build tomorrow. Free yourself from this emotional prison. Accepting the past is an act of courage, and only those who have the courage lives lightly. Peace comes when you stop resisting what is past and begins to act on what can still be built. This is the key to a powerful gift. Serenity before the uncertain future. The future is always uncertainty. We can plan, prepare, imagine, but never control. And that generates anxiety. The mind wants guarantees. But life gives no guarantees, just opportunities. Seneca said, "Nothing happens to man that nature has not prepared it to endure." To live with serenity is to understand that uncertainty is part of the package of existence. And trying to anticipate all the answers is the way to mental tiredness. What you can do is the best today. The rest is trusting. Trust you. Trust in life. Trust God if you believe. Anxiety comes from the attempt to control the uncontrollable. It's like running to attach the wind, but the wind does not hold. He feels, respects himself, is used in favor. And the future is like that. When you learn to welcome the uncertain with faith, life becomes less heavy. Seneca was not a naive dreamer. He was realistic, and yet he believed in tranquility as virtue. Because those who have serenity think better, act with more wisdom, and don't be carried away by paralyzing fear. Serenity is a silent force. You don't have to know exactly how everything will happen. You just need to take the next step with courage. One day at a time. One choice at a time. The future is built now, and anxiety weakens this now. Therefore, it is worth releasing the excess control. Ask yourself, what can I do today to be better prepared tomorrow? And after acting, delivered. There is immense power to know that you did your part, but you don't have to carry the world. You deserve to live more lightly. And this is possible when you let out what is not in your hands. The future is a seed. Take care of it with actions in the present, and let time do your job. It's no use pulling the plant to make it grow faster. Everything has its time, and accepting this is a sign of deep wisdom. The value of emotional intelligence. To live with wisdom is to learn to deal with their own emotions. Anger, fear, frustration, everyone is part of us, but they do not need to rule us. Seneca said that those who dominate himself is more powerful than those who conquer kingdoms. And this is emotional intelligence. It is not about being cold or indifferent, but to learn not to act impulsively, not to be carried away by the heat of the moment. Stopping, breathing, reflecting. This is not weakness. It is strength. It is maturity. It is knowing that not everything needs immediate response. You do not control how the world treats you, but it controls how it reacts. And that defines your way. A poorly managed emotion can destroy a relationship, an opportunity, a dream. Already a conscious answer can open doors that the impulse would close. Emotional intelligence develops with practice. Missing, trying again, asking for forgiveness when necessary. It is a daily exercise of self-knowledge. To understand what affects you and why, and to act, increasingly, with balance. Seneca via emotions as fire they can warm or destroy. It depends on how you use them. Do not repress your emotions or they suffocate you. But don't be a slave to them or they drag you. The way is that of the environment, consciousness, and balance. If today you react explosively, that's fine. But how about starting to observe this? How about stopping before the explosion and wonders, what do I really want here? This small space between impulse and action is where inner freedom lives. True strength is not hostage to yourself, not allowing the emotion of the moment to steal the peace of a lifetime. Developing this ability is a gift that you give yourself and others, and transforms everything around you. The wisdom of letting go. There are times when insisting is an act of pride disguised as hope. Not all we want is what we need. Not everything we lost was, in fact, a loss. Seneca reminds us letting go is not failing. It is accepting that some things no longer belong to our way. Attachment is pain. When you hold something you should have gone away, you delay your own evolution. It can be a relationship, an idea, a plan. The fear of releasing comes from the illusion of control. But to release is to trust. Trust that the new needs space to arrive. Let go can hurt at the beginning, but it is a pain that heals. It is the necessary cut to remove something that is already necrotic. Peace comes later as relief, like a breeze after the storm. But this breeze does not come to those who cling to what is over. Seneca taught that we should not cling to what is passing. Life is movement, and who resists the movement suffers. Release is an act of courage and maturity. It is to give up the need to guarantee, to live the lightness of trusting. Observe your life. What are you holding on out of fear? What has already given signs that no longer serves? But do you insist? It is not about giving up easy, but to recognize when something has already fulfilled its role. Relearning is not weakness, it is wisdom. Letting go is also an exercise in faith. Faith in itself. Faith in time. Faith in life. By giving up what no longer serves you, you create space for what you really need. And this space is sacred. This is where miracles happen, but they only come when there is room for them. Life wants to bless you, but you need to open your hands. You can't receive the new holding the old man firmly. To release is to open yourself to the natural flow of things. It is trusting that what is true will be, and whatever is illusion, it will leave. Freedom of conscious acceptance. Accepting is different from conforming to. To accept is to look at the facts with lucidity and say, that's how it is, and I choose how I will deal with it. This is the basis of inner freedom. Seneca called it to live according to nature. Respond wisely to what life presents. When we accept what cannot be changed, we gain clarity to change what it can. And that gives us immense power. The power of choice, of responsibility, of the focus. The revolt distracts us. Acceptance directs us. It is a turn of a mental key. You can accept and still fight, but intelligently. You can accept and still seek changes, but with serenity. It is this combination of lucidity and action that transforms lives. Who accepts, leads. Who denies, suffers. Simple as that. Conscious acceptance is to live with your feet on the ground and your heart alone. It is knowing that reality does not need to be perfect to be lived with intensity. It is to stop demanding that everything is under control. It is doing the best possible and trusting the processes. Seneca said that wise man lives in harmony with fate. He does not fight the winds. It adjusts the candles and follow with purpose, with peace, with dignity. Because who accepts, adapts. And who adapts, thrives. In the end, it all comes down to a choice: fighting life or walking with it. The first option tires. The second, release. And this freedom is silent but powerful. It does not depend on the external. She is born inside. Accepting wisely is the secret of a light life. It is not to surrender to suffering, it is to transcend it. It is not hiding from pain, it is crossing it with courage. And in doing so, you discover something precious, that true strength is not resisting, but in flowing with purpose. Now that you understand that you don't have to control everything to live in peace, tell me, how long will you insist on carrying the weight of the world on your back? How many times will you let what is out of reach steals your energy, your joy, your presence? It's in your hands to decide not what happens, but how you choose to react to it. What, in your life, needs to be accepted? More serenity. What internal change can you start doing today to have more lightness, clarity, and emotional freedom? Don't expect the world to change to feel good. Start with you. Transformation begins the moment you take control of the only thing you can really master: yourself. If this content has touched you in any way, don't keep it just for you. Share with someone who needs to hear this message. And if you want to keep plunging into topics that transform the way we think, feel, and live, subscribe to the channel right now and activate the bell of notifications. There are many videos like this out there, and you won't want to lose any. Let's grow together.